Hi everyone, my name is Rivka Rozenberg. People call me Rivki, that's my nickname. Today, I will teach you 7th graders a lesson about Bangkok and Moscow. You will see what these two things are in a second. Let's begin. Here are two pictures in front of you. What do you see in the pictures? Where are these places? Do you know where these places are? They're not in Israel, right? No. Where are these two places? These two places we will travel to today. We will go to these places. You will go to these places with me today. Are you ready? Let's go. Today, you and I will take a trip to Bangkok in Thailand. That's the first picture here on top. And then we will go to Moscow in Russia. Do you see the first picture on top and the flag near it? That's the flag of Thailand. We will go to Bangkok in Thailand. After that, you and I will go to Moscow. And you have Russia's flag on the left here. We will go to Moscow. Moscow is in Russia. Are you ready to go with me? Let's travel. What do you need for our trip? Are you ready to go on a trip? I am more than ready to get out of this house with this Corona time and go travel abroad, to go away abroad. What do you need for our trip today? Let's see. First, we will go to Thailand. So this is what I brought. I brought my sunglasses. See my sunglasses? This is for my trip to Thailand. In the morning, I also put some sunscreen, just to be very, very careful because of the sun in Thailand. After that, we will go to Moscow. What do you have ready for our trip to Moscow? This is what I have ready. I have my hat, my bonnet it's called, my winter hat. I have my gloves. These are my ski gloves, my winter gloves for Moscow. And I also have a scarf. I put the scarf around my neck to keep me warm. These are the things I have ready for Moscow. What do you have ready for our trip? Do you have special shoes? Maybe boots for Moscow or sandals for Bangkok? Let's see a little bit of information, a little information about our trip today. Once again, we are going to Bangkok in Thailand, and then we are going to Moscow in Russia. What important words do we need to know for our trip today? Let's look at these words. The first word is good. I think you all know what good is. Good morning, good evening. Good is the opposite of bad. Hi. Do you see the word hi? It's not hi like this. It's hi, H-I-G-H. We don't pronounce the G. You see the picture here, high and low? High is the opposite of low. High, high, high. The mountain is very, very, very high. Number 3, outside. I wish I could go outside these days. I'm sure you would like to go outside these days. But now with the coronavirus, you have to stay inside, not go outside. Summer. In the summer, I go to the beach, I wear my sandals, I never forget my sunglasses. These are my sunglasses, remember? I never forget sunscreen to protect my skin from the sun in the summer. In the summer, it is warm. It is not cold outside, it is warm. Warm is a little less than hot, just warm. The sun is shining, it's warm outside. 6, happy. Are you happy to be with me today? I'm very, very happy to teach you. I'm often happy. 7. South. Do you see the compass here? We have N for north, S for south. North, south, east, west. Number 7 here is south. North, south. 8 is always. I always, always, always respect my students. I always like to go for a walk in the evening. These are some words we will see as we go on today in our lesson. A few more words. Winter. Winter, it's cold. Sometimes it's snowy in the winter. The wind blows. Winter, you have a picture here of the winter. A man and his family building a snowman in the winter. In the winter, I often wear my bonnet. Do you remember my bonnet, my hat, my green hat? This I wear in the winter. Sometimes I put on my gloves too. C, never, 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 never forget to put on sunscreen in the summer. It is very important to put on cream to protect your skin. Never. D, inside. Today we are inside. After the coronavirus, we will be able to go outside. Outside. E, north. Do you remember before we talked about south? Now we have the word north. Tzafon, north. North, south, east, west. F, bad. Sometimes when I have a bad cold, I sneeze, apchoo. That's sneezing. I have a bad cold. I cough, bad. G, cool. Sometimes I dress like a cool person. I wear jeans, I wear my sunglasses, trendy shoes. That's being cool. Cool is also when it's not cold, not freezing. It's a little cool outside. Then I wear just a jacket. H is low. Do you remember before we talked about high in the picture? Now we have the word low. In the next few minutes, I would like you to match the words from column A to their opposite in column B. Their opposite. For example, I will give you an example. A1 is good. What is the opposite of good? You're right, bravo. The word bad, F. That is the example. So in the next few minutes, when the slide will show up and you won't see me anymore, please match the words in A to their opposites in column B. But I'll be back. Don't go away. Hi again. Let's review the answers here. So, The first example I gave you is good. The opposite of good is bad, of course. What did you write for the opposite of high? Very good. High, low. That is the opposite, high and low. What is the opposite of outside? Outside is inside, of course. What did you write? I hope you wrote inside. And for number 4 in columns A, what did you write for summer? The opposite of summer is winter. Number 5, warm. What is the opposite of warm? You're right, cool. Happy? Happy? Sad. That's the opposite of happy. How about number 7? The opposite of south. South, the opposite is north. North, south, east, west. And the opposite of always is never. I always put on sunscreen when I go out. I never, never, never forget my sunscreen before I go outside. Let's continue. Today, as I said, you and I are going to go to Bangkok in Thailand. Let's read about Bangkok. Bangkok is the capital city of Thailand. Capital city, just like Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. So Bangkok is the capital of Thailand. It is one of the hottest cities in the world. One of the hottest cities of the world. April, the month of April, is the hottest month of the year. It is often more than 35 Celsius degrees. It's so hot. And it does not get much cooler during the rest of the year. It stays most of the year very, very hot in Bangkok. The coldest month in Bangkok is December. It is about 26 degrees. 26 is pretty hot, still pretty hot. The weather is more pleasant. It's a little nicer at this time of the year, right now. But for some people, it is still too hot. It's too hot. Let's look at these 3 questions below. Can you, in the next few minutes, write next to these sentences true or false? Let's read the sentences. According to the text, you have to look at the text, and according to the text, please write either the sentence if it's either true or false. It is never freezing cold. That's number 1. In Bangkok, it is never freezing cold. Is it true or false? Number 2. Most of the year, it is cool. Number 3. April, the month of April, is the coldest month. Take 1 or 2 minutes. Write true or false, okay? And I'll be back. What did you write in number 1? It is never freezing cold in Thailand. Is it true or false? You're right, it's true. It's never freezing cold in Thailand. Number 2, most of the year it is cool. No, we know that in Thailand most of the year it's pretty warm, pretty hot. April. April is the coldest month? I hope you wrote false, because April is the hottest month of the year. Let's continue. Now, let's go to Moscow in Russia. Don't forget your bonnet and your gloves. Don't forget, we're going to Russia now. Let's read about Moscow. Moscow is the capital city of Russia. It is one of the coldest cities in the world. Opposite of what we just read about Bangkok, right? In January, the temperature is about -9 Celsius degrees, but it can get much lower than -9, can get much, much lower. There aren't many tourists in Moscow at this time of the year. People don't really like the cold, so people don't visit Moscow as much as they visit in the summertime. But you can still have fun in the winter. You can go to the Russian Winter Festival. It is a very, very big event. You can watch people sing and dance. You can also see beautiful sculptures. Sculptures are psalim, and in Moscow you have beautiful sculptures in the wintertime, probably made out of ice. Just remember to wear warm clothes because it is freezing cold outside. Answer the questions below. Number 1, why aren't there many tourists in Moscow in the winter? What do you think? Number 2, what can people do at the Russian Winter Festival? What do they do there? Do they read? No. Give one example what they can do in the festival. What should you remember before you go out? What should you remember to take to Moscow? Take a few minutes to answer these questions, and I'll be here waiting for you. I hope you had the time to answer these questions. Let's go on. I'd like to share with you a fun fact. Did you know that the flag of Russia is the first one? Look at the colors: white, blue, and red. And the flag of Thailand, look, it's very similar. Last night when I was preparing this lesson, I noticed that this is similar. It's very funny. The flag of Russia is the first one, and the flag of Thailand, Thailand's flag, is the second one. Very, very similar in colors. They are the same colors, actually. Now, before the break, I will explain to you what you'll need to do during the break. Creative writing. Choose one of these pictures. On the top, you know already, it's in Thailand, right? It's in Bangkok. And the bottom picture is in Moscow in Russia. Write a letter to your family and friends to convince them, to tell them, please go with me to either Thailand or to Russia. Write a letter to your family or friends, convincing them to go with you on a trip. Share your letter with your friends. Don't forget to use the vocabulary that we learned before. North, south, warm, cold. Write this letter during the break, but don't forget to come back to see me later. again. I hope you had a good break, and I hope you managed to write this creative writing task. Let's continue. Let's look at a short grammar point. Comparisons with adjectives. How do we compare? We have two things. How do we compare between them? We use a comparative adjective when we compare two people, places, or things that are different. For example, if the adjective is short, we add er to it. For example, adjective plus er plus than. And here is a sentence for you to look at. It is colder in Moscow than in Bangkok. It is colder in Moscow than in Bangkok. It is hotter in Bangkok than in Moscow. We put er, colder, and we add the word than. If the adjective is long, we use more or less. More or less plus the adjective plus than. Here is a sentence for you to look at. In Bangkok, the weather is more pleasant in the winter than in the summer. I'll read this again. In Bangkok, the weather is more pleasant in the winter than in the summer. The comparative is normally used if you want, as I said before, to compare things, people, for example, places. When we compare using short words, we add er and than at the end of the adjective. Another two examples here. He, you see the person here in the picture? He is taller than me. My car is cheaper than your car. Let's practice this. Can you compare Bangkok to Moscow using the words below? Here are the words: interesting, far, expensive, and beautiful. Take a few minutes and compare between Bangkok and Moscow. I'm here. Don't go away. curious to know your answers here. Let's look at the answers that I wrote. Would you like to compare to yours? Let's look at it. You were asked before to compare Bangkok to Moscow using the words interesting. Bangkok is more interesting than Moscow. Bangkok is more interesting than Moscow. The next word, far. Bangkok is farther than Moscow. Far, depends where you are in the world, but Bangkok is farther than Moscow. Expensive. Moscow is more expensive than Bangkok. And beautiful. Moscow is more beautiful than Bangkok. I hope these were your answers. Let's continue. In the sentences below here, 6 sentences, please choose what is true for you. Can you circle what is true for you? Let's read the sentences. Number 1, I think a sunny day, a day with the sun outside, a sunny day is better than or worse than a rainy day. Which do you prefer, a sunny day or a rainy day? Circle the correct answer. Number 2, in the classroom, it is colder than or hotter than outside. What is true for you in your class? Do you remember your class? In the classroom, is it colder than or hotter than outside? Number 3, my class is smaller than or bigger than my class last year. Number 4, I am older than or younger than my best friend. Who is your best friend? Are you older than your best friend or are you younger than your best friend? Number 5, riding a bike is less dangerous than or more dangerous than swimming in the sea. Which is more dangerous? Riding a bike? Of course, maybe without a helmet. I hope you don't ride without a helmet. Riding a bike is less dangerous than or more dangerous than swimming in the sea. And the last sentence is, I think English lessons are easier than or harder than math lessons. I wonder what you will write on this sentence. I think English lessons are easier than or harder than math lessons. Take a few minutes, but come back, okay? רק תשאיר את האחרון, כאילו קצת... I'm curious to know what you wrote. I will answer these regarding myself, okay? Let's go over these sentences. I think a sunny day is better than or worse than a rainy day. I don't like rain so much, so I prefer a sunny day. I would write, I think a sunny day is better than a rainy day. Number 2, in the classroom, it is colder or hotter than outside. I am in a classroom now, but teaching you online. So in the classroom, it is colder than outside because we have air conditioning. My class is smaller than or bigger than my class last year. My class here right now is smaller than the class I had last year. So I would choose smaller than. Number 4, I am older than or younger than my best friend. I am younger than my best friend. 5, riding a bike is less dangerous than or more dangerous than swimming in the sea. I think riding a bike, if you don't have a helmet on, is more dangerous than in the sea, than swimming in the sea. Number 6, I think English lessons are easier than or harder than math lessons. What do you think? Well, it's not very fair, but I'm an English teacher, so I think English is easier than math. Let's continue now. I would like you to compare the weather in these 2 cities, just in 2 sentences, perhaps with your parents or with your friends. Can you compare the weather in these 2 cities? Which cities do you see in the picture? We have London and we have Tel Aviv. Let's compare the weather. London is usually cloudy, rainy, cold. Tel Aviv is usually sunny, hot, and dry. Can you compare these 2 cities? I gave you an example here. It's cloudier in London than in Tel Aviv. It's cloudier. There are more clouds in London than in Tel Aviv. Can you compare the cities here? Try. Just 1 or 2 minutes. What did you write here? Did you compare London to Tel Aviv? How did you compare the 2 cities? I wrote, London, it's cloudier in London than in Tel Aviv. What did you write? Share it with your friends or with your family. Today's lesson was about Bangkok and Moscow. I would like to just review, shortly summarize what we learned today. So we started off by, let's see, I'm going back in my slides. Do you remember these 2 pictures I showed you? Moscow on the right and Thailand on the left. These are the 2 flags. I told you we will take a trip. I hope you enjoyed our trip today. We talked about the different clothing or different gear you need for our trip. For example, I showed you my bonnet, my hat for Moscow. I showed you my sunglasses for Thailand. We talked about the different vocabulary. We talked about high, low, inside, outside, south, north. Then we matched the words and their opposites. We read about Bangkok in Thailand, and we read about Moscow in Russia. We had a short creative, after the break, we talked about the grammar point, comparisons of adjectives. We practiced a little bit. And we compared two different cities, London and Tel Aviv. I hope you enjoyed our lesson today. Come back and see us soon. Bye-bye.